we in college, we a little broke. Like, I found myself, I found my man, but boy, did I hate that city. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is a sit down. We are currently in my beauty room, which is a little bit empty, but I thought we'd do a sit down, you know, little get ready with me, little sip and spill as I continue to just build my community. I want you guys to get to know me. A lot of times I'll realize like I'm just talking as if I'm talking to one of my friends and y'all don't really know me yet, so I can't do that. So I thought this video would be a good intro into our friendship, a little FaceTime call. So I am going to do a little bit of my everyday beat, which is very simple. Honestly, usually takes me like 10 minutes or less. I did get my eyebrows laminated and tinted, so they're done. It's like 2 minutes of my step. So really, I'm gonna stop and talk a lot because my hair's done. Everything's pretty much done, you know? I just hope y'all enjoy this video and like, comment, and subscribe. Leave a comment. I love when y'all talk to me. I feel like I'm building a true community, and it was only right that I do this now that we're at 100 subbies. Like, okay. Thank you, y'all. Thank you so much for subscribing. Really, like, I'm just gonna get into my life, spill some tea. I do have my drink here with me, which it is still dry January. Okay, I have not switched up. I have not made it damp. It's still dry January. So this is green tea that you will see me drink throughout this video. Your girl got a wedding in a year. I can't be on here just drinking and drinking and drinking. Should have caught me in 2023. I was on Taylorport real bad, but not anymore. Growth, okay? But let's go ahead and get right into this. But let's start with, my nose is already itching. Every time I do my makeup, I don't know why my nose just get to itching, but hey, whatever. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram, GRWM. A little bit about me. I'm originally from St. Louis, which I saw that a lot of my subscribers that watch my like Japan vlog were like, I'm subscribing because you're from St. Louis, or somebody else said I am also from St. Louis. So I automatically am like, what school did you go to? That is like such a St. Louis thing to ask, but like I want to know like what high school y'all went to. I went to Parkway Central. I went to Parkway North my freshman year and then went to Central for the rest of high school. But I also like went to so many schools when I was younger. I went to Ladue for middle school. I was in private school for elementary school. So I know a lot of people from a lot of different places, which I feel like kind of shapes me into the person I am today, because, you know, as a kid, you don't really have, like, when you were a little kid, back in the day, you didn't have phones to just, you know, text your friend and say, dang, I'm not going here next year. We got to keep in touch. I was always with this girl named Stacy and then this other girl named Amber. And I always wonder, I'm like, what is Amber doing now? Like, what is she up to? And that's really like, that's the sad part about switching schools a lot as a child. But hey, it is what it is. So yeah, I'm from St. Louis. I went to college at Mizzou. And it's so funny because I feel like, again, I switched schools a lot from like kindergarten to high school. And once I got to college, I kind of did the same thing. Your girl was kind of lost. I was like, what school do I really want to go to? Because I was really the first one in my family to go to college, first gen. Where my first geners at? You know, we out here putting on for the fam. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do for college, and I didn't know where I wanted to go. Like, looking back now, I just really wish I went to like Howard or, you know, just the HBCU. I feel like that's a great experience to get, and it would have been great for me too, because I went to a lot of schools that were predominantly white. I was always the only black girl on the basketball team, only black girl that played volleyball. Like, it just really gave the token black girl a lot of times. So, and look at, I'm like literally not even touching my face. So let me really get into it. But yeah, I just kind of was like, I feel like it was a culture shock once I graduated, not even Mizzou, but like once I moved. So I'm gonna get to that in a second. But I went to Mizzou. I studied journalism. Really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but I feel like when I look at the TV screen, I don't see a lot of people that look like me. So let's just do that. And that's what I did. But I didn't start off at Mizzou. I started off at KU, which is the University of Kansas. So I was a Rock Chalk Jayhawk for a second. Then I felt like this is way too far from my family. I didn't have my car. My parents didn't want to give me my car when I first graduated. So I was like, this is too far. Mind you, I said this is my routine. So what you see, I prep my skin prior and all that, but like what you see, I would not follow me. I am not a makeup guru. I just do what works for my face. But anyway, so then I moved back to St. Louis and I ended up playing volleyball in college at Webster University. I did not like it there, if I'm being completely honest. I did not like Webster. It was just too close to home. You know, I was really playing like, oh, this porridge is too, what's that kid, y'all know what I'm talking about, like that kid story where it's like, she like, oh, this is too cold, this is too hot. I was literally doing that my college career for like the first year. So once I realized, I'm like, you know, playing volleyball in college is cool and all, but like, I'm trying to tee up. And Webster is not the place where you tee up. So I'm like, okay, let me go to Mizzou. I feel like everybody from my high school was going to Mizzou. And I'm like, I don't want to do what everybody do, so that's why I didn't go to Mizzou. But I ended up at Mizzou. So me and my friend, and it's so funny because me and my friend from high school, literally, we were like this. Like, we went to every school together. So we went to KU together. That was my roomie. We went to Webster, and then we were like, this ain't cutting it. Let's go to Mizzou. So we went to Mizzou. That's my girl. That's literally one of my bridesmaids. It's like, you know, we don't get into really why, but like, we literally have been like this ever since we met at Parkway Central. So yeah, went to Mizzou, graduated in 2020 COVID year. I don't know why I feel like the class of 2016 always gets like, why are we always getting the butt end of the stick? Like, I never understood that, but I felt that way in high school and especially in college when we couldn't even like walk across the stage till forever later. So I'll insert a little picture, but I literally graduated with my man. He went across stage right after me. And how do people do this? How do people do their makeup and talk? I wore a pink grad cap. I'm like, you know, COVID year was already a joke. Why don't I just do what I want? Like, I'm Miss gonna do what she want. And it's so funny because me and my roommate, we did start a YouTube channel, which I mentioned in my Japan vlog. We started a YouTube channel in at KU our freshman year. This was our intro video. We were freezing our butts off. Thought we ate that on up. I can't remember the name of our channel, but we did story times. We did a bunch of stuff, and I got some story times for y'all. So I'm gonna definitely do another like get ready with me story time at some point. But yes, I don't know, I say all the time, college was a time. I had a ball. They could never make me hate college. When I think of living, which I think you should do, when you're in college, you should live. You should, I'm not gonna say act a fool because I don't condone that, but you should live a little. You should find yourself. And that's literally what I did. I found myself. I found my man. Like, your girl was like living. But let's go into how I met my man. So it was summer of junior year of college, I want to say. Um, he transferred to Mizzou. Kayla, my roommate at the time, was like, I've been trying to get my cousin to go here. So I'm like, okay, like, we not gonna be hanging out with him. Like, what you telling me for? But she's like, I've been trying to get my cousin to come here. We were at a party one night. We were at like I don't know if we were at a Q party or somebody who was a Q, like, hosted a party at their house. And one of his friends was a Q. So she's like, oh, there go my cousin. So we walk over to him or whatever. And he's like, she's like, Sierra, this is Darren, this is Sierra. And I'm like, hey, wasn't my type. So I'm like, hey, like, you know, whatever. Not really thinking much of it. And he looking me up and down. I'm sure I had on a shirt that was a little deep cut. So he looking me up and down. And he like, I heard you can cook. First of all, why is it the first thing you're saying to a girl? Let's talk about it. Why are you telling me that? Because, yeah, I used to be in college. I stayed in that kitchen because I had to learn. We in college, we a little broke. Like, I don't have, my parents gave me money for groceries. They didn't want me to work my first 2 years of college. So I was like, you know, I'm just trying to cook a little something. So I did get a little familiar in that kitchen. I will say that. And I used to post it, or Kayla used to post it. And he was like, you know, I see you be cooking. And I was like, yeah. And I want to say he asked me, like, are you going to cook for me? And if I know myself well enough, I probably looked at him and said, no. No, I'm not cooking for no man. No little boy. So he eventually comes over, wants to take me out. Y'all, that date, our first date is so funny. We went to Cheddar's in Columbia, Missouri. It's not a lot of options, but he was trying to pick me up. And I was like, I lied because I just feel like first dates, if you're comfortable getting picked up, that's you. But me, I like to be able to control where and how to go. So I was like, if this date goes wrong, or if I'm really, really not feeling it, I want to be able to leave. Or if I'm uncomfortable, I want to be able to leave. So I like lied. I don't know why I didn't just tell him like, no, we can drive separately. But I had lied, and I was like, I got somewhere to go before, so I just dropped myself. So we met or whatever, and he definitely carried the whole date because, like I said, y'all, I wasn't really like, he wasn't my type. Like, my type was very my type, and if my friends knew the guys that I dated at that time, they would agree, like, they all look the same. And nugget of advice for my girls: just go on a date. Just see. You know, what's the harm in seeing? Okay? So that's my first nugget of advice. But I was like, you know, on a date, like, I wasn't really talking. I'm not like a super yapper. I know y'all probably like, how are you on this camera just yapping away and did a lick of makeup? I'm not a yapper. To people I don't know. That's the caveat. Like, to people I don't know, you'll be like, do this girl even talk? But yeah, I don't know. I was like, he's really sweet. He cool. I was just so stuck on my type. I'm like, he's not my type. He's not my type. Like, he's not my type. Plus I'm in college. Like, I didn't want to be tied down. I didn't want to be, you know, dated. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to get this little free meal, you know. We in college again, we're broke. But we started hanging out. Like, he would come over, like, that's his cousin. So he would come over our house. Always bring food for us. Like, he was a real gentleman, I will say. And I feel like I started to get, like, attracted to him because I'm like, I've never experienced this. I've never experienced a man who, you know, just wants to do. Like, I feel like I always brought so much to the table, and then I met with nothing, you know? So there was a lot of times where, like, he would do stuff for me, and I'm like, this man is reminding me of my dad, which was kind of weird. Like, it's weird to say, but, like, I always used to say when I was younger, you know, when you got your dad in your life, you know what it's like to have a real man around. So you're really not going for all the other mess, okay? And although there were times where I went for mess, I definitely did. I wanted to be the help so bad. I feel like I didn't have to, you know? Although, like, everybody struggled in college. If you ain't struggling in college, okay, Miss Rich. Okay, Miss got it all together. But most people struggled in college. And there will be times where, like, he struggled and I was there to help him. And it felt like we were creating, like, a real bond, you know? So we end up dating. And, like I said, we graduated together. And he's really driven. So there came a moment where he was doing an internship, which I didn't have to do an internship. And I also didn't want to. Like I said, I did journalism, and I knew right then and there, because we had a news station on campus, that I did not want to do this for life. I said, I'm a sensitive person, and this is sad. I remember doing a story. They had us going outside, talking to the victims, talking to the mom of this boy who just passed away that night, 4th of July. Mind you, I have a friend who passed away 4th of July as well. I was like, this ain't for me. This is not for me. I do not want to be in this predicament. I felt so, like, wrong just coming in there, you know, trying to get a news clip, trying to get a story. Like, that just don't sit right with me and my spirit. So I kind of figured very early on that this ain't for me. I don't want to do journalism. I should have did StratCom, which is strategic communications, which is what I do now. Yeah, so he did an internship, literally is still with that job to this day. And they were like, you know, they gave a list of places, and he was like, okay, this is a list of places we can go. You know, he was trying to stay home. You couldn't get me to stay in St. Louis for nothing. No, don't like St. Louis. So I was like, let's move somewhere that's close. Closest place on that list was Memphis. Now, I want to preface this by saying I am so appreciative of Memphis and how it grew me mentally. But boy, did I hate that city. I hated Memphis bad. I hated Memphis so bad. And I would say the main reason I wasn't a fan, I'm not even doing my makeup routine. This is not even how I do my makeup. I'm just doing stuff. But my beauty blender is not wet. Give me a second. Give me a second, y'all. I gotta learn how to talk and work and interact. Like, okay, where was I? Yeah, so we moved to Memphis, and honestly, Memphis just gave like St. Louis, but worse. And this is where I said, you know, it would have helped me to go to a HBCU. I went to a lot of white schools. So I was used to being like the token black girl. I was used to being around a bunch of white people. I unfortunately was not used to being around a lot of black people, which when you say that, people are like, girl, what? Like, I'm not really close with many of my family members outside of like my sisters. And my sisters are spread out, y'all. Like, I have a sister that's 3 years older than me, and we were really close. But the next sister after me is a 10-year gap. So I spent a lot of time like by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like my high school, of course, all the black people knew each other, but like it just wasn't a big black community, especially in the sports that I played. Like track, that's where most of the black girls, you know, you would see other black girls. But other than that, like volleyball team, on the varsity team, there was like me and one other girl. Like, and I always got close to them. Like, her name is Kayla too. Shout out to Kayla. Like, that was my girl. But yeah, you just don't experience that many other people that look like you. So once I got to Memphis, and Memphis is just very like culture, black culture everywhere. But when I say like, I just was not used to it. And it felt so different to me to be around that many black people. Like, even in college, I have never been a person to just like go out and network. And that's one thing, another nugget That's one thing I wish I would have did differently. And if you're about to go to college, or if you're in college, please network, please meet people, please meet your community. But I feel like since I came in sophomore year, it was like, you know, everybody know everybody already. So I made friends, of course, and these friends that I have made like are lifelong friends. But I never felt like I was a part of a group, you know? So once I got to Memphis, I was like, oh, it's a lot of Black people. And that's so crazy to say, but that just goes to show, like, as a suburban Black girl, we got to get out there. We got to know our people. And I really feel like a HBCU would have really helped me, like, really know our people. I just have never been a person that just kind of, like, puts myself out there. So that's something that I'm still working on now. Like, I'm still working on how to put myself out there. Yeah, I hated Memphis, and not because there were so many Black people there, but there was just nothing to do. I felt like I was in St. Louis, and not only was I in St. Louis, but there was less to do. So I was just kind of like bored. Like, what is there to do? I didn't have any friends there. I did end up making friends. I did. And if you ever want to make friends in your adulthood and you're like, how do I do that? Coworkers are cool, but I wouldn't recommend it. I downloaded Bumble. They have like a Bumble Friends. I downloaded Bumble and met girls that way. One of my other friends was my coworker, but we worked at the Grizzlies together, Memphis Grizzlies. And that first season was a time. I had so much fun working at the Grizzlies. Honestly, the first season was good. The rest of the seasons, y'all could keep that. Y'all really could have kept that. But that's my girl to this day. We talk all the time. That's a little background about me, how we got to Nashville. My man, his company, he got a promotion. And they asked him if he wanted to move to Nashville. And he was like, do you want to move? Like, I know you get into your career. Because for a while, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like, I'm not doing news, so I will figure it out. That's how I ended up working at the laser place when I first like got to Memphis. Then I started working for the Grizzlies, doing communications there. I worked for a nonprofit, doing the communications there. And then I started working for my last company. And he was like, you know, I know you get into your career. Do you want to just stay in Memphis? And I was like, a job could never have me stay in Memphis, ever. I hated Memphis and I wanted to leave. So I was like, you know, a job is a job. I'm sorry, that's how I see it. A job is a job. They would let me go, which they ended up doing. That's why I say it's a blessing in disguise. They ended up letting me go. You could really stop working now. This was back in like October. They was like, you can really stop working now. Get paid the rest of this year, and then get your check in January, and find a new job in Nashville or whatever you want to do. And I'll be a fool not to do that. So I didn't work the rest of 2024 after that Japan trip. I was like, oh, it's really giving housewife, you know? So although I am looking for a role, I'm trying to find a role that is right for me, because I don't think Nashville will be the last place we move to. So I really want to find something that really sticks. I am being a little picky. I'm not gonna lie. I am being a little picky, but God is gonna work everything out for my good, okay? Every no that I have received this past week means that there is a bigger yes on the way. And that's just what I believe. And that's what I know, because my God is great. So, I really haven't been stressing. Plus, like, my job was not my only source of income. Amen. Get you multiple sources. So, with that being said, plus, like, I saved so much money. I was so hard on myself, and I saved so much money last year that I'm blessed to be where I am, in the position that I am in. And now I'm just trusting God to open doors that He sees fit for me. 2024, end of 2023, 2024 was the year I really like started to get really in tune with God, to really like grow my spiritual journey. I've always been, you know, I've gone to church since I was a little girl. But once I got to college, I kind of was like, oh, this is why my parents wanted me to be in church, because that was when I felt like I was so like alone, didn't know what I wanted to. I was just lost, you know, as I feel like most people are in college. You just want to find yourself. And so I started to just like honestly build my own relationship with God. I didn't go to church, but I did just like, I prayed, I read my Bible. I just started to have like a community of like my friends. So that's really where my spiritual journey started. It elevated in Memphis. And this is why I say I'm just forever grateful for Memphis, because it kept me very grounded. I feel like a lot of times I had a lot of pride. I had a lot of just like low accountability skills, just things that I feel like wouldn't have grown my character in the long run. And I heard so many no's in Memphis. Like, I've been a person, like I said, token black girl, that has gotten everything she's wanted in life. And once I got to Memphis, baby, I heard so many no's left and right. I was like, is my middle name No now? Like, where is this coming from? So I felt like Memphis just grew me up. Memphis gave me a whole new perspective of life. I realized that like I just needed to grow. I needed to grow up. A lot of trauma that I had from my childhood, I couldn't just rely on that to be the reason I acted the way I acted, you know? So I'm forever grateful for Memphis. Like, although I hated that city, I still feel like without Memphis, there is no me. My relationship grew. I feel like we had church at our house where we were watching YouTube. Pastor Jerry Flowers, literally love him down, because I genuinely feel like he showed us what you should look for in a church home, what is sound doctrine, what your pastor should be talking about, and just like how to grow yourself. And I feel like he just did a great job of explaining it. I took notes every Sunday. We were so excited to just like, we were excited for every Sunday to come, because we were like, okay, what Jerry got to teach us today? And I feel like it really took our relationship to the next level. On top of that, we would have just our own Bible study, reading the Bible on our own every Wednesday. And it was just beautiful to see our relationship grow in that way. So yeah, like, I don't know, like, I'm forever grateful for Memphis. So, I mean, that really brings me to what's it giving in Nashville, and where am I now? And to be honest, I'm trying to just build my community, even like my church family. We found a church here, which was really my main goal of 2024. So we found a church home. September, we moved in September. We found a church home soon after that. That was my main goal. I wanted to be in a church, and I love my church. Yeah, I do the social media for my church, which y'all have seen in the last Spend the Week with Me. If you haven't seen that video, what are you doing? Go watch the video. My sense break, thank you. I like that. Our church is so young, so it's so helpful. Young in both like years and crowd. Like, I want to say most people that go to our church have to be between the ages of 20 to like 50. And there's just like a very, very large percentage of that has to be in that 20-30 range. Like, our church is very, very young. So I feel like I'll have the opportunity to meet friends that way. My goals for 2025 is just to continue to grow my mindset, grow my faith. Last year was the first year. At the very end of the year, our church fasted, and we're fasting currently right now in January. And these are the first 2 times that I've fasted and really like have focused on, you know, what I want to get out of it, what I want God to show me. And it's just felt different. Like, I've just never felt this connected to God and just like my purpose. And I've never felt so calm. Like, the typical person going through, okay, I just got laid off in January. And although I'm in January, I'm seeing so many no's come across my email address. But the fact that like I look at those no's as not yet, not this one, it's just a different mindset to have. And I'm so appreciative of it. And I also think a lot of times, like in past years, I cared so much what everybody else thought. I cared so much of like, oh my gosh, people probably think I feel behind. People probably think like, girl, what are you doing with your life? But like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm literally living in my purpose. I'm finding out my purpose every day. And I can never get deep because I always am like, it brings tears to my eyes to know that like, I don't have to know everything. I don't have to know tomorrow. Tomorrow comes with its own worries. So I just think it's a beautiful thing to be able to be where I'm at. And I will say, like, there has been times, a lot last year for sure, there were times where I felt like my friends that, you know, are on their own journey probably are looking at me like, girl, you are doing too much. And I used to think about that, and I'm like, okay, well, let me not mention God in every conversation. Let me not, you know, talk about God, what God is doing in my life in every conversation. Let me not even bring it up. Let me just focus on them and what they're doing, so that I don't have to feel like out of place or like feel weird when I'm talking about God because they're not where I'm at. And really at the end of 2024, God really convicted me of that and was like, girl, you're supposed to be spreading the good news. If they don't want to hear it, they're going to either stop hitting you up, they're going to stop asking you for advice, or they're going to lean in and want to know more. And I just think that's so powerful for any girls that's out there like wanting to take the next step of their faith, but they feel like, you know, my friends aren't there yet. My friends are still doing very worldly things and I don't want to anymore. Girl, do it. Be the outcast, because I felt like such an outcast last year. And it got to a point where I was like, I can't keep doing what everybody else is doing, feeling how I feel, because conviction was eating me up, and thinking, okay, because I think everybody, you know, it's steps for everybody. It's not going to be like, oh, I believe in God, I'm pure. No. No. There's definitely steps in between of that. But as you get closer to God and you develop, you don't want to do things. Like when I stopped cursing, oh my goodness. It was hard because I'm like, how do I not do something that everybody else is doing? I don't want to be seen as that girl that thinks she's too good. And that's a lot of times what it was. I felt like everybody would think like, Sierra thinks she's too good for everybody. Sierra thinks she's too good for stuff. And newsflash. Yeah, I am. Because how are you using the same mouth that you're praising and thanking God for, and you also saying F you to a driver that just got in front of you? You know, for me, it didn't make sense. As I started to get closer to God, I obviously started to post about him more. And it's like, I felt like a lot of stuff would contradict when I'm posting a lot about him in my page, you know, pictures of me just half naked. It didn't feel right. So I always know when something don't feel right, you should lean into it. So I literally did a sweep of my social media page, and y'all, I will give y'all some. I will give y'all a funny story. There'll be times where I'm looking through my Instagram and I'm just like, baddie, post for me. Just going through my stuff, and as I was going through my stuff, like I literally did that so often, like consistently, week by week. I would go through my stories. I would go through my posts, and I'm like, I am a bad, okay. And there was one time I did that, and I just felt this strong feeling of, you need to take some of these down. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I don't want to take these down. Like, I feel like I have one of the best Instagrams. Like, I don't want to take this down. And I just felt it every time. Like, every time I would even go on Instagram, I only have to go to my page. I just felt like, girl, you need to take this down. And I kept ignoring it. I was like, I'm cool. I'm good. I'm doing better. I'm not posting like that anymore, so I can keep it up. Till I got to that day where I was sitting there, I was looking at him again, and I said, yeah, it's time to take him down. And y'all, when I say I cried, and to y'all, you probably like, girl, it's just never that deep. But for me, it really was. Like, that's how much I was so into myself. And so I'm taking down pictures that I knew like just were way too much. And I'm taking them down. And I'm just like boo-hoo crying. My man looking at me like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, but yeah. And honestly, like, I feel like that really like sparked so much change in me, because from that moment on, like, I don't know, I just don't view Instagram the same. A lot of times I post for myself. I don't post for the approval of people on the internet, because I just felt like, you know, that's your resume. People go on Instagram and they see you and you got a lot of seductive pictures that just didn't fit my vibe no more. Like, it just didn't fit me and who I'm developing into as a person. Don't get me wrong, I personally don't see nothing wrong with taking a bikini pic when you out the country. I feel like I still have a bikini pic on my page, but there was a difference between the types of bikini pics I had on my page. I felt like a lot of stuff, I just was taking it too far, a little too far. Yeah, that really was just like the start to my, like, I'm getting serious about myself. I'm getting serious about my relationship with Christ. I'm getting serious about being a kingdom leader. And I asked God for help along the way. I asked him to show me those things. So it's like, this was kind of like a moment of like prayers answered in a different way. I always ask God to just make me an instrument, make me someone that someone feels like they can reach out to and just ask questions if they're curious, because I never want to push my beliefs onto anybody. That's not my vibe. But I do want to say, like, when you ask me about my life and how did you get that? People always saying like, how did you find your man? How are you this? How are you that? How are you able? God. That will be my answer every single time, because to get to where I've gone, where I am and where I am going, it's nobody but God. Yeah, I'm so thankful. I will never stop thanking God for what he's done for me in my life. Just the calmness I've felt over the past year of like life. I just feel so calm. I don't worry. Like, I am a overthinker, and I feel like lately I've just been so calm because his word is written. It is written. So if you feel lost, if you feel discouraged, if you feel like no one understands you, God does. God understands you. He will take you back every time. You might get off track. You might say like, I'm just gonna go back to the things I know. And God will show you why he is better every single time. So yeah, that's really where I am, just growing spiritually, growing emotionally, and just living in my purpose, figuring out what my purpose is, aligning God's will to me. I literally say in almost every prayer that I say, like, God, I want what you want for me, because what he wants for me is way greater than anything that I can imagine for myself. So yes, y'all, that is literally me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, our little FaceTime call, because I'm gonna be calling y'all back. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. Let me know what you want to see from me. Let me know what videos you like, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.